I matched with Emily on Tinder. Her profile looked pretty normal. Nothing screamed fake. She had 6 pictures, mostly selfies, one with a golden retriever, another at what looked like a baseball game. Nothing overly polished or influencer looking. Her bio just said, coffee addict, graphic designer, probably stealing your fries. She messaged first, "You're definitely gonna judge me for this, but pineapple belongs on pizza." That turned into a stupid argument that somehow lasted almost an hour. It felt easy. We joked around, exchanged memes, complained about work. She wasn't constantly online either, which honestly made everything feel more believable. Sometimes she'd disappear for 6 or 7 hours because she said she was working with clients. After maybe 2 weeks, we moved over to Snapchat. She sent pictures throughout the day, coffee cups, her desk, her dog, traffic, nothing that looked staged. Whenever I'd send something, she'd usually respond with another snap instead of typing. Again, it felt normal. The only thing that was a little weird was that she never really sent videos. At first, I didn't even notice. If I asked what she was doing, she'd send a photo of a TV. If I asked about her dog, she'd send a picture of the dog sleeping. Everything matched the conversation, but somehow it was always a photo. Eventually, I asked if she wanted to FaceTime. She replied almost immediately, "Hate video calls, LOL." Fair enough. I know plenty of people who avoid them. A few days later, I asked again. "My apartment's a disaster." Then another time. "I look awful." Always some excuse. Friends started joking that I was getting catfished. I laughed it off because, honestly, everything else seemed so normal. She knew details I'd forgotten telling her. She remembered my work schedule. She'd ask how my mom's surgery went. She remembered my dog's name. That's not something scammers usually bother with. Around the 2nd month, she started talking about meeting. She actually brought it up first. "We should stop pretending we're internet friends." I agreed. We planned dinner one Friday. About 3 hours beforehand, she texted saying her sister had been in a minor car accident. Cancelled. Okay, life happens. We rescheduled for the next weekend. That morning she woke up throwing up. Cancelled again. I remember texting my friend Josh. "Dude, am I actually getting catfished?" His response was immediate. Yes. I still kept talking to her. Looking back, I think I just didn't want to admit I'd wasted 2 months talking to someone who wasn't real. The conversations were still good. Nothing about them felt fake. She'd tell stories from work, send pictures of restaurants, complain about neighbors, even send voice messages once in a while. That probably convinced me more than anything. Her voice sounded exactly how I'd imagined. Not robotic, not weird, just normal. Then one night she suggested something. "Come over instead." I actually laughed. "You won't FaceTime me, but you'll let me into your apartment?" She replied, "I know how dumb that sounds." Then another message. "I'm just really self-conscious on camera." I figured, whatever. If she's comfortable meeting in person, that's better than FaceTime anyway. She sent me an address about 40 minutes away. It was an older apartment complex on the edge of town. Not dangerous looking, just old. Parking lot lights were dim. Half the balconies had random furniture sitting outside. I texted her when I parked. "I'm here." She answered almost instantly. "Come up, 3rd floor. Apartment 307. As I walked upstairs, I realized something kind of embarrassing. I was actually nervous, not because I thought something bad would happen, just because meeting someone after months of texting feels awkward. You build this version of them in your head. I knocked. Nothing. Then I heard footsteps. The deadbolt unlocked. The door opened maybe 6 inches. A guy looked at me, probably mid-30s, short beard, gray hoodie. We just stared at each other. I actually thought I'd gotten the apartment number wrong. Sorry. I checked my phone. 307. He looked at me for another second, then smiled. You must be Jake. Every hair on my arms went up. I didn't answer. He opened the door a little wider. Emily told me you were coming. I just stood there. What? My roommate. I frowned. You have the wrong person. He shook his head. No. Jake, right? She talks about you all the time. My stomach sank. I looked past him. The apartment was dim except for a lamp in the living room. I couldn't see anyone else. Where is she? He shrugged, probably getting ready. That answer should have been reassuring. Instead, it somehow made me feel worse. There were shoes by the door. Women's shoes. A purse sitting on a chair. Everything looked lived in. He stepped aside. You can come in. I didn't move. I'll wait out here. He laughed a little. Dude, relax. Something about the way he said it made me even more uncomfortable. He wasn't threatening. He wasn't acting aggressive. It was just off, like he'd expected this exact conversation. I texted Emily. Your roommate answered. Read immediately. No response. I waited. Nothing. The guy watched me check my phone. She's probably finishing her makeup. I looked up. Can I just talk to her? Sure. He disappeared into the apartment. I heard him say, Emily? Silence. Then, Emily? Nothing. He came back after maybe 20 seconds. Huh. What? I don't know where she went. I actually laughed because it sounded ridiculous. What do you mean you don't know where she went? He scratched the back of his neck. She was here. I started backing toward the stairs. Nah. He held up both hands. Hey, don't leave. Bad choice of words. Really bad. I turned around and walked downstairs. Not running, just walking fast. Halfway down, I heard the apartment door open again. Jake! I kept going. Wait! By the time I got outside, I was already unlocking my car. My phone buzzed. Emily. I'm so sorry. Then another text. He wasn't supposed to answer. I stared at it. What? I'm embarrassed. What is happening? 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Finally. Please don't leave, I called her. Straight to voicemail. Again. Voicemail. Then another text. I'm coming downstairs. I waited. 5 minutes. Nobody came. Another text. Almost there. 10 minutes. Nothing. I looked up at the 3rd floor balcony. No movement. Then something caught my eye. The guy. Standing behind the blinds, watching the parking lot. Not hiding. Just standing there. I got in my car and left. She spent the next hour apologizing over text. The explanation she gave made almost no sense. Apparently the guy was just a roommate. Apparently she'd gotten nervous. Apparently she'd gone outside through another exit because she panicked. It was complete nonsense. I stopped responding. The next morning I woke up to 17 missed messages. Most were apologies. Then they slowly became angry. You embarrassed me. You made me look crazy. You could have just waited. That flip happened fast. I blocked her, or at least I thought I had. About 2 weeks later, I got an Instagram follow request from an account with no profile picture, no posts. The username was random letters. The bio just said, I didn't lie. I ignored it. A few days later, another account, then another. Eventually, I accepted one because I wanted answers. The first message was only one sentence. Can I explain? Against my better judgment, I said yes. The response came almost instantly. I am Emily. I asked for one simple thing. Video call me. She refused. Instead, she wrote this massive paragraph. According to her, she had severe anxiety. She'd been using old pictures because she'd gained weight. She didn't think I'd like what she looked like now. The roommate was actually her ex-boyfriend. They still lived together because neither could afford to move out. She claimed she'd hidden in another apartment because she'd panicked when I arrived. Parts of it sounded believable. Parts absolutely didn't. I asked one question. If that's true, whose voice messages were those? There was a long pause. Then she replied, "Mine." "Then prove it." Nothing. 5 minutes later, she sent another paragraph completely ignoring the question. That's when I noticed something. She never actually answered direct questions. She always redirected. Always. Looking back over months of conversations, she'd been doing it the entire time. If I asked something specific, she'd answer something close enough that I never noticed. It was subtle. Really subtle. I finally told her I was done. I blocked every account, changed my Instagram settings, changed Snapchat, deleted Tinder. About 6 months later, I was having drinks with a coworker who happened to know someone in that same apartment complex. I mentioned the address. He immediately recognized it. Apparently, police had been called there more than once because people kept showing up asking for someone who didn't exist. Different names, different stories. Nobody was ever arrested because technically nothing illegal had happened. People just kept arriving, getting confused, and leaving. No one knew exactly what was going on inside that apartment. Maybe it really was someone with severe mental health issues pretending to be different people online. Maybe multiple people were involved. Maybe the guy knew exactly what was happening. Maybe he didn't. I honestly don't know. What sticks with me isn't even the apartment. It's realizing how easy it was to trust someone I'd never actually met. For almost 3 months, I felt like I knew this person. I knew her favorite coffee order, what shows she watched before bed, what kind of music she listened to while working, the names of her coworkers, stories about her childhood, little details that made her seem completely real. Whether any of it was true, I'll never know. The weirdest part is that I still have no idea who I was talking to. Not really. Just someone who was incredibly good at pretending to be exactly the person I wanted to believe was on the other side of the screen.